All right, welcome back to another episode of EventHubs Talking Block. I am John Catalyst Green. With me as always is John Velociraptor Guerrero.
I just recently heard that Mortal Kombat 12 is coming this year. And I didn't hear it from Ed Boon, I didn't hear it from NetherRealm Studios. It seems to have leaked. I don't know if maybe this was the way they were planning on announcing it. I highly doubt it. But the Warner Bros. Discovery earnings call happened today, and the CEO and president just flat out said Mortal Kombat 12 is coming this year. So Here we are.
Shout outs to that. Yeah, that was definitely not planned. That was definitely a slip. I do feel bad for people who work in this business and have those kind of slip ups, because it is really hard to be constantly talking about the stuff behind the scenes, doing the projections, doing all the other kind of stuff, and then realize what has or has not been announced to the public. That is the easiest way to get caught up with stuff, because you know all the stuff and you know it intimately, and it's like, oh boy. And so shout outs to this guy, because you have now entered the annals of the FGC leak history. Mount Rushmore, you were right up there. You have leaked an entire game before it was scheduled to be announced. Heck with E3 press conferences and all that other kind of stuff. Boom, earnings call, here we go. Yeah.
I wonder how far off. I gotta wonder how far off the actual Mortal Kombat 12 reveal is gonna be. Because if it's coming this year, and NetherRealm usually has a pretty quick turnaround time. We got Mortal Kombat 11 announced in December of 2018, and then the game came out some 5 months later in April of 2019. So they usually keep it under wraps and then let us know about it not too far away from the release date. I just hope it wasn't tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming up for darn sure. If they're going to release it this year, this is probably going to be a holiday game, right? This is probably what it's looking like. It's, when you announce a game, you at least want kind of a 6-month window to go down the line. And this is this is a brand new summer of, post, I should say, COVID-19, where most things are happening online. They have these big presentations. We just had the state of play today, all this other kind of stuff. That is where you expect these big showcases to happen. And I believe it was either 10 or 11, Mortal Kombat 10 or 11, that had a giant Sony or Microsoft press conference reveal. It was one of the major headlining games. That's typically what we see from NRS, a giant bombastic thing. And these are games selling in 10 to 15 million copy range right now. This is not a small little thing. This is a gigantic thing. And so, boy, I really feel bad for this guy. He's the president and CEO of Warner Brothers.
David Zaslav, the CEO and president of Warner Bros. Discovery. They seem to be doing well. We're talking on their quarterly call, talking about how things are going, letting the investors know that that their money is in a good place and that a Mortal Kombat 12 is coming. And also, by the way, that was the announcement.
Yeah. Hopefully you didn't say on that call that we're really good at not doing leaks.
I have exactly what he said right here in front of me. He says, and there's lots more to come, including the highly anticipated Mortal Kombat 12 and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Games also set for release this year with ambitious launch projections. So, hey, it's going to be ambitious. We know that about it. But that's it. We haven't seen, like you said, anything for the game yet. We haven't seen any artwork. The most that we've heard about it is that Ed Boon said something along the lines of, and this is Ed Boon on Twitter being Ed Boon troll and tease, and is it a hint or is he misdirecting us kind of a thing? Where he said, well, we're either doing Injustice 3 or MK12, and then later on he kind of debunked the idea of Injustice 3, said we're breaking up the pattern, and NRS has been known in the over the last decade, a little bit more, gosh, we're getting old, that they would do a Mortal Kombat game, and then about 2 years later an Injustice game, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, Mortal Kombat, but it's not going to be Injustice 3 now. We know it's going to be MK12, and we know it's going to be this year. And this is actually 4 years with a COVID in there somewhere, but 4 years after MK11, which is crazy. We're old.
Yeah. In this, I think a big reason why it's not Injustice 3, and even despite the fact they're owned by Warner Brothers, is Warner Brothers had the rumors for the longest time of being sold to Comcast, and I don't know if that's completely on the back burner now or whatever, but NRS, it's possible, could have been owned by a brand new company in this window and not had the rights to the IP of DC characters anymore. And that is more than likely why we did not get an Injustice 3, if you ask me. This time around, it's, hey, we own Mortal Kombat, we own the IP completely, totally. let's go ahead and just run it back again, because there's no risk of us being sold to a company where we don't have the rights to the characters anymore.
Well, that's probably the case. I would also say though that superhero, you shared a link with us today in the water cooler chat at work, that superhero movies are on the decline. I think that they've been on the decline, and that more so that the studios are kind of catching up to that, because hot damn, it's like we were done with Marvel in phase 3. They did phase 4, and now here we are in phase 5. But then the DC movies never really did that well. There's a few ones that were pretty good, but for the most part, most of those were just panned, and they just didn't work out, and they're just laundry list of problems. So I don't know how excited people are to see a superhero filled, even if it's an Injustice game, relative to where they would have been. So maybe the strategy is like, let's move away from that, and maybe you can. I mean, if they own the rights still, or they can play with it, maybe they'll bring in a Superman or a Batman as guests in Mortal Kombat. Although I don't know if you're ripping Superman's head off. But the one thing about it is that I really wish it was Injustice 3, for the fact that I know that Ed Boon and his team, his cheeky sense of humor, they would definitely do a Superman with a mustache and then a Superman without a mustache, but the without would have to be like the visually, the graphically special effects getting rid of it, because of what they had to do with Henry Cavill in the reshoot, or the Snyder cut of whatever the stupid movie was. Justice League.
Boon would have not let that slid. Yeah.
He would have gone in hard, and they all would have been talking about his in the pre-intros and all that stuff. They all would have been talking about his goofy CGI mustache, and it would have been perfect. But alas, not there. Not going to be Injustice 3. It's going to be Mortal Kombat 12, which, hey, I'm excited for. Mortal Kombat has been evolving like crazy. In fact, they sort of reimagined the franchise, kind of brought it back to the 2D plane from being 3D since MK4 in 1997. For the whole more than 10 years after that, it was 3D, and that was an interesting era for the franchise. But they brought it back with MK 2011, also known as MK9. In 2011, they sort of changed the story up with some time travel, and since then they've been evolving it with the new characters that are all either descendants or pupils of the established, like World Warrior types. And that's been interesting and cool. Some of them are a little overpowered for who they are, but we won't get too far into that. But the point is, Mortal Kombat and Ed Boon and his teams have always been pushing the envelope and exploring new spaces. They don't always win, and it's not always a home run with what they do, but they're always trying new stuff, whether it's Mortal Kombat chess or Mortal Kombat single player adventure mode, or just, team, or not team fatalities, but whatever the fatality system was in freaking Armageddon. But they do a lot of home runs, and they figure a lot of cool stuff out, and they carve out new ground for not just Mortal Kombat, but for like the fighting game franchise, fighting game genre, I should say. And I'm excited to see what they do in Mortal Kombat 12.
Yeah, it's just to bring this home here. This is one of the biggest IPs in video games now, with Mortal Kombat, where the Mortal Kombat 10 did 11 million in sales, and then this last one, 11, did 15 million in sales. So these are very large games, and it's really wonderful to see them back. They have this huge spot now at the table in the fighting game community. Really happy for this announcement. Of course, we'll be back with more analysis on this here in the very near future. But big ups to NRS. We're really happy to see this back. Sorry it leaked, but we are very happy.
I'm excited to see how they kill off Cassie Cage in this next game. That's going to be cool. Looking forward to that. And how they evolve Aaron Black, because I think he's the coolest new character by far.
Give him a mustache. So, okay. All right, and then remove it. So, all right, y'all, that's gonna wrap us up.
In the DLC, you have to buy the DLC of the site of the CGI removed mustache, and it looks bad. And I'll pay extra money for it. I'll pay the cost of the game to do that.
Yeah.